Okay, so good morning, everybody, and welcome to our monthly Career Growth Hub meeting as part of the PA Forum. I'm delighted to be joined today by the wonderful Kam Vara, Director of Candidateled, Birmingham. Morning, Kam. How are you?
I'm really good, Dan. How are you? Hi,
Very,
everybody.
very good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. The purpose of today's session was I had a fantastic meeting with Kam earlier this week, and I was absolutely overwhelmed to hear about the number of opportunities that Kam has got available here in Birmingham and the wider region. And I just thought it'd be really good to be able to just spend some time with her, digesting some of this information, finding out about what's going on in the market at the moment, and how Kam can support you with your career journey going forward. So, Kam, I I mean, it was absolutely wonderful to talk to you the other day, but I can see that you are massively busy at the moment. What's going on out there?
Dan, it's been crazy. It's been steadily busy, I would say, for us since September. But as the months are going forward, it's the demand from employers has been increasingly high. I'm getting roles coming in by the day. It is really busy out there.
I mean, are these roles? I mean, in the world of recruitment, we know how difficult and challenging it's been in the past, finding those roles, but these roles are just coming to you, I say.
Yeah, yeah. So obviously, I always have my client base. So these are clients that I work with for many years who are approaching me for roles. But amazingly, I've had a number of new clients approach me, and then I'm working on them with multiple roles because the impression that I'm getting from employers at the moment is what they're looking for isn't what pre-COVID. Everybody is looking up. I'm hearing the word count. We're looking to upgrade. We know that you can help us upgrade, or we're looking to change the way this role is working. So actually, a lot of the work that I am doing is looking to change what was there already with a new role.
Fantastic. I mean, I understand they're using the word, upgrade, but I mean, that can be quite, could be taken in different ways by different people, particularly in different sectors because they work
Yeah.
so differently. But what would you say, what are those kind of, you've got very different opportunities. Can you give us an indication of kind of three different opportunities you've got available at the moment and how different they are from each other?
Okay, so one opportunity that I've got, for example, is a project coordinator, and part of that role is a PA and mentor. So it's 20% PA, and then 80% coordinating international projects across the business. Now, these kind of roles seem to be coming through now. They're new because PAs have always loved doing project work, but there's never been a role that's been more projects than PA. So that's one role that I'm working on. I've got a PA to a global FD role that I'm working on at the moment, working for a huge business, working across their international brands. And then another role that I'm working on is it's an amazing role working for a construction business, which is a PA office manager, and it's supporting the MD. But this is where I was saying, in terms of upgrade, they don't just want someone who can do a PA role, they want somebody who can run the office, who can hold the office together and get involved in the operational running of the business, as well as supporting the MD. So that's a new role as well. So that's giving you an idea of three different roles. Actually, only one of those roles is a replacement. The other two are brand new, didn't exist before.
So really then these are what people are coming up with at the moment is more of a very, very much blended role. So they want, they've got a very, very strong idea in their mind about what they want and the
Yeah.
different types of responsibilities that they want somebody to fulfill. But actually they want that proper blend and different skill sets that someone can bring.
Yeah, I think lockdown has made a lot of employers realise that actually having just one functional role doesn't work. And actually, by having a role that's multifunctional, where you can do more than one thing, is much more value add, not just for the employer, but I also think it's a lot more value add for the candidate because it gives them more diversity. So when I talk about upgrade, I'll give you an example. I recruited a front of house coordinator for a firm in Solihull. And the reason I say upgrade is before it was just a pure reception role. Now it's reception, it's managing the director's diaries, it's doing the facilities. So they took what was there, realised that they could do a lot more with that role, added more responsibilities to it and made it bigger. So when I talk about upgrade, it's about taking something and making it bigger and adding different dimensions on it, which inevitably is far better for the candidate because it gives them more variety.
So in your role as a recruiter, when they're coming to you with these blended, roles and these blended responsibilities, are you managing their expectation then in terms of salary and saying, well, that's great, I can get you that type of person, I can get you the person that can fulfill that role, but you are going to have to pay a lot more than you've been paying before? And what's their reaction to that?
It's really good. I mean, a lot of employers have been massively realistic. So I can categorically say I haven't had to push back on salary. And where I have, they've said, do you know what? Okay, we will look up to that amount. So I haven't had that issue. And I have had candidates say to me, oh, are the salaries less because of COVID? They're not. I wouldn't say they are. And I don't think employers are being difficult when it comes to paying for the right caliber of candidate because, the market has moved over the last 12 months and employers recognise that. So no, I will manage expectations, but I haven't had anybody say to me, no, that's not acceptable. I can't offer that. Employers are definitely being flexible.
Fantastic. So, and just in talking about flexibility, we're hearing stories now where, we're coming out of COVID, people are returning to the office and the flexible working has been either agreed, it's set in stone and that's what's going to happen. But we also are hearing some stories from some corporates that are starting to bring people back to the office and saying, well, actually, no, we want you back 4 times a week, and still thinking that that's flexible because there's only one day at home. So with the term flexible working now within a job description, how flexible are they wanting people to be? Could they be entirely home-based with maybe 1 or 2 visits to the office a week? Are there opportunities out there that are just completely remote? Or is there a level of expectation that, yes, at the moment it will be remote, but we very much want you to start coming back into the office more and more in the future?
Okay, so I would say that employers, from what I can see, have been very loose with the term flexibility. I mean, without a doubt, employers will definitely be more flexible than they were pre-COVID because it kind of does work. And when I say they've been very loose, it's business needs. So yes, we will be flexible with you in accordance with business needs. So if the employer wants you to be in 5 days one week, they expect you to be in 5 days one week. If they expect you to be in 2 or 3 days the following week, they expect you to be 3 days. I don't think I've spoken to anybody because I think a lot of people are hoping that, oh, I'm going to be able to work Mondays and Fridays from home. I'm going to be honest, and I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing flexibility, yes, but at the end of the day, if the employer needs you, they will call on you and they will expect you to be there. In terms of, and I do think that anyone who is very much, no, I'm only going to do 2 days or 1 day in the office and only the rest at home, I think that they are, from what I can see, they'll be reducing their options because there's only one role that I've recruited that I'm recruiting for at the moment, which is 100% remote. And the reason it's 100% remote because it's a document production role, which means you are plugged in, you're doing the documents, you're formatting them. That role doesn't require any interaction. It's purely the information comes in, you do the work, you send it out. It's a very transactional role. I haven't seen any other role that was remote. And I had some employers post-COVID saying, oh, we're going to give up our offices. But now they're like, no, we hope to be back in the offices by September. So with the big corporates, they've got these big expensive offices. They're going to want to use them without a doubt. So flexibility is one thing, but in terms of employers committing to them, whether that will change after the 21st of June, I would say it's very, very loose.
And I think that's the challenge, isn't it? Because let's say, for example, you've got somebody based over in Wolverhampton, the Black Country, and there is an amazing opportunity over in Warwick or in Coventry. You know,
Yeah.
they could potentially be missing out on some exceptional candidates that are on the other side of the region, who really do need that flexibility. So, I think it's such a fine balance where the candidates, it seems to me it's very much a candidate-led market at the moment. Would you agree?
Yeah, it is a candidate-led market. I would definitely say that there are probably more job opportunities out there than candidates, but I would say that employers are being stubborn as well, and they will hold out for the right candidate. And if you've got a candidate in Wolverhampton and a client and in Warwick, yeah, I mean, technically speaking, if you don't mind travelling 3 days a week or 4 days a week is fine. But there will come that time where maybe there's a big project on and they need you to go in 5 days. 5 days commute is difficult. And actually, I mean, I was in the city centre. I was out last night in the city centre yesterday. And I was walking through the city centre as well. It was busy. Some of my clients are back in the office 4 days a week. Some are in the office 3 days a week. So people are going back, and people are enjoying being back. So it's good. It's a very uncertain time, but I also think that employers are still putting together their strategies about how they're going to get people back and how that's going to work.
Well, I think it's extremely positive to see, just how much opportunity there is out there for people at the moment. And, myself included, if I was very much going for one of these jobs, I've had such a fantastic blend of working from home and being back out there. And I can truly see the value of being back out there in front of people and talking to them. And I absolutely buzz off that personally. But I think, I would very much be holding back to say, I really would like that kind of flexibility. And I really hope that employers do everything they can to try and appease their workforce. We've been through an incredibly tough time. Retention is everything. And, being able to recruit the right people into the organization who can hold up the values and, do a fantastic job is just so important. But we can see that there's if someone was to look on LinkedIn or maybe come to you and see that there's been hundreds of applications for a particular job, I can understand sometimes that it might put them off applying. What would you say to those people?
So just because a role has had 100 applications, it doesn't mean that those 100 applications are right applications. So, for example, I had a PA to Global FD role that I advertised, and I did have a lot of applications for it. But I would probably say only a handful of those applications had the criteria that I was looking for. And when I mean that, I mean just PA experience of any kind. I had people who had worked in retail a long time. Some people haven't worked in the office. Because some people, I think, just press and click apply without thinking about what the role entails. So just because the role has had 100 applications, it doesn't mean that you haven't got a chance of applying for it, because you don't know who the other 90 applications are and whether their application is as strong as yours. So I always say, don't pay any attention to that. Think about your application on its own. And if you feel that you have got that skill set, and if the job sounds of interest, you must always apply, because you're not going to have a chance to go for it if you don't press the send button. So that's really important.
And, pre-pandemic, there might have been people that, as we all do, we could have been working in our organizations for a few years and thinking about, oh, actually, is now the right time for me to move? Now people might be more concerned, actually, I need to stay where I am because, the company has stayed with me, and, what the uncertainty potentially of moving into a different role. What would you say to those people that may have been thinking about moving or are thinking about moving? Would you say that now is the right time to think about that?
I think it's always a good time to move when the employment market is in rebuild stage. And at the moment, we are in rebuild stage because we are rebuilding. Employers are rebuilding their whole infrastructures to accommodate this new way of working, and also to accommodate business that is coming in. I mean, we're not just talking COVID, we're talking about the effects of Brexit and 101 other things that affect the way that we work. And I also think that whatever happens in London will have a knock-on effect in Birmingham, because, you know, I've had a couple of my clients say that they've had a couple of their employees taken by London employers because they can pay them a lesser salary. So, you know, it will have an impact. We are the second biggest city. It is a good time to move because we are in growth stage. But I mean, everybody's reasons for moving are very different. I would say that the majority of candidates who are registered with me at the moment are in jobs at the moment, but their circumstances may have changed, or they're just looking for something new, because when you've spent 12 months at home, working from home, it changes your perspective on life and about what you want. So yeah, absolutely. It's best to move during growth phase where you can be part of that growth and grow with the company. Then when the market is perhaps a little bit flatter, that's what I would say. And this is my second experience of a recession.
And I think, you know, I can only talk specifically about the industry that I have, you know, known and worked in for many, many years. But, you know, I certainly know that we are finding it extremely challenging in the hospitality industry at the moment, where people are very eager to get a job and they're coming into the industry, and the industry is booming. It's literally, I mean, the last 2 weeks has been phenomenal for the hospitality industry. To see everything come back to life has just been amazing. But they cannot, you know, we're going from a time where people have been on furlough for such a significant length of time. The level of workload is really, really overwhelming. And so are you finding therefore that you know, people might be coming in these positions where there might be a PA/project element to it? Are the companies now implementing some great training schemes and opportunities within their organizations to help bring people up to have the skills that can be for a blended role? For example, if someone's an exceptional PA or EA that's never had an office management role, you know, are they happy to think about those people and think about bringing them in, but also helping and supporting them with the right tools for them to do the job?
I think that if the person is the right person for the company, I mean, I've just had some feedback from a client, and the feedback was really, really good for the candidate in question, but the client actually chose a candidate because they felt that they could develop her and bring her in and develop her, because although she had experience in some areas, she didn't have experience in all the areas. So yeah, absolutely. Some employers will do that. Some employers will want everything. But I genuinely think that any job that anybody is going into at the moment, which is new, will require an element of development, because the expectations of that role are changing. You know, you've got office managers now who are getting involved in a lot more than they ever did. You know, social media, marketing, projects, bids, COVID health and safety. That's a lot of responsibility for one person. So yeah, I think absolutely. And I mean, generally I do find that employers are willing to invest in their staff, but I think moving forward, attrition will be a number one priority for employers. And I think if developing them means keeping them, then yeah, I do think that will happen.
And what about interviews at the moment, Kam? Are they still very much online, or are they a blend? Can you choose to go and have a face-to-face interview, or can you choose to have a virtual interview?
To be honest, Dan, I've had a real mix. So up until about April time, it was all online. But now I'm seeing first stage Teams, second stage in the office. I mean, I have had candidates who have been offered jobs where they've done first and second by Teams, which is fine. But I do think that, you know, taking on a new job is like a life-changing decision. And although first stage is fine on Teams, I think it's important for the candidate to go and have a look where they're working, smell the offices, have a look at the location, what's around. Can you imagine if you did your first stage interview on Teams, second stage interview on Teams, you turned up to the office and you're like, oh my God, you know, what is this? I don't like it. So I think it is important. And I think a blended approach, I personally think, will be the thing of the future. First stage team, second stage in the office. It's better for the employer from a time perspective, but I think it's better from a candidate. If you've got to take time off work or to go for an interview, it's easier to take a half day off for your second interview and then just do your Teams interview in your lunch hour or something. So I think that it's been a really good thing, and it's beneficial for both parties.
No, fantastic. You know, again, I just can't believe how fast things are moving. You know, if we'd have had this,
Gosh, and
if we'd have done this talk last month, it would have been completely different to what we're
yeah.
saying now. It's exciting. I can imagine for some people, it's quite nerve-wracking. You know, we are in a position now where I feel that we are forcing ourselves to make really, really big, significant, life-changing decisions. But actually, you know, that can be really, really exciting. And so it's great to hear about all the different opportunities that you've got. Now, you know, Angela, k.Vara is part of the Angela Mortimer group. So can you just, for those people who might not have been registered with you before, can you just let us know, you know, if they're watching and they're not in Birmingham, for example, how can they come to you, and what could you do to help them, Kam?
So obviously I cover Birmingham, Solihull, West Midlands, and then our London office is in Wardle Street in Soho. So if anybody's looking in and around the south, then I'm happy to pass their details on to our London office, who is equally as busy. They have got roles again coming in all the time. I think London has woken up a little bit as well now, which is good. So I'll be happy to forward their details on. And we have an office in Paris. You know, if anybody wants to, you know, move over to there, that's fine. I can refer their details over there as well.
And what about, you know, are you obviously, you know, I know you might not be looking very much specifically at the roles in London, but can you see a significant difference between Birmingham and London, or is it quite similar situation as to what we've described today?
I think we picked up in Birmingham first. I think we felt it first, and then London has felt it afterwards. But it's like on the other side, when we went into COVID, I think Birmingham, the regions were hit first, and then London was hit. So it's just kind of playing catch up. So although I've probably been busy since kind of October time, I think our London office has probably picked up in the last probably 6 weeks-ish, where it started to get busy. Post-Easter, when Boris has announced the second lockdown, release, I think it's come from there, and I think there'll be another one when we find out what's happening on June the 21st.
And I mean, just to, you know, give us an idea, how many positions do you think, off the top of your head, you are actually recruiting for at the moment?
I think I've got about 40 at the moment that I'm working on, and some of those are multiples. And I've got other things coming through which I haven't even looked at. So that's a lot of roles.
Fantastic. And just to, you know, where can people find out about these roles, Kam? Can they, you know,
Yeah, they're all on our website, and anybody who wants to contact me direct and have more of a personal conversation, I can put them in. They can speak to me, or they can speak to one of my consultants. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, everything's on our website, and sometimes it's just good to just have a look, even have a browse, have a look at the kind of roles that are out there. Because remember, when you're looking at an advert for a role, it's an advert. It's not a job description of this is what the role entails. So it might be of interest to you, but it might need a further conversation to find out whether it's actually right for you.
And what's your web address?
It's www.k.Vara.com.
Fantastic. And what I'll do is, if you don't mind, Kam, is I'll add your email address to this.
Yeah, that's fine.
On LinkedIn, when we post this video on the
Sure.
YouTube channel, just so if anybody wants to get in touch with you directly, they can have a conversation with you. But Kam, great to chat to you today. I think I'll have to let you go because it sounds like you're unbelievably busy. But it's absolutely brilliant to kind of hear the buoyancy in the market at the moment, you know, the opportunities that are available out there for people. I hope that people watching this today, it's, you know, enabled you to give some thought and some feeling towards what you might like to do in the future. And Kam, you know, is ever so supportive. She's supported the forum now for nearly 5 years, and we're grateful to her for her constant updates and letting us know about what's going on out there. So thank you so much, Kam, for joining us today. Have a fantastic bank holiday.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.